criminal justice system, the people are represented by two separate yet equally important groups: the police who investigate crime and the district attorneys who prosecute the offenders.
That's assault, man. That's assault, man. Break that up, man. Pop that here, man. That's assault, man. That's assault, man. Break that up, man. Break that up, pop that here, man. These people are going to eject you from this line. That's assault, man. That's assault, man. It is, you cannot touch me like that. Oh, I will be telling you exactly what happened. Break that up, man. Man. These people are going to eject you from this line. That's assault. That's assault. We have video of her just touching. How did that go? I will. Excuse me. Ma'am. Excuse me. Break that up. That's assault. Excuse me. Ma'am. You cannot touch me like that. Break that up. Break that up. Break that. Break that. Break that. Break that up. Break that up. Oh, I will be telling you. Break that up. Break that up. That's assault. Stop that. That's assault. That's assault. Stop that. Break that. That's assault. Stop that here. We have video of her just. These people are going to eject you from this line. How did that show? I will assault. It is incredibly appropriate. I will. You cannot touch me like that. That's assault. Break that up. Stop that here. Man, you cannot touch me like that. It is incredible. That's assault. Break that up. That's assault. Break that up. Stop that here. Man, stop that here. Man, stop that here. Man, these people are going to eject you from this line. Break that up. Break that up. Break that up. That's assault. Break that up. Man, break that up. Oh, I will. Man, that's assault. That's assault. Oh, I will be telling you exactly what happened. Stop that here. That's assault. Break that up. Man, that's assault. Man, break that up. Man, break that up. Stop that here. These people are going to eject you from this line. That's assault. Man, that's assault. Man, it is. You cannot touch me like that. Oh, I will tell you exactly what happened. Break that up. Break that up. Man. These people are going to eject you from this line. That's assault. That's assault. We have video of her just touching. How did that show? I will be. Excuse me. Man. Excuse me. Break that up. That's assault. Excuse me. Stop that chair. Man. You cannot touch me like that. Break that. That's assault. That's assault. That's assault. Stop that. Break that. That's assault. Stop that chair here. We have video of her just. These people are going to eject you from this line. How did that show? I will assault. It is incredibly appropriate. I will. You cannot touch me like that. That's assault. Break that. Stop that chair here. Man, you cannot touch me like that. It is incredible. That's assault. Break that. That's assault. Break that. Stop that chair. Stop that chair. Stop that chair. Man, these people are. These people are going to eject you from this line. Break that up. That's break that up. Break that up. That's assault. Break that up. Man. Break that up. Oh, I will. Man. That's assault. That's assault. Oh, I will. That's assault. 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 Oh, I will. That's assault. 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 Oh, I will be telling you. That's assault. 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 Oh, I will be telling you exactly what happened. Stop that character. That's assault. Break that up. That's assault. That's assault. That's assault. Oh, I will be telling you. That's assault. That's assault. Oh, I will be telling you. That's assault. 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 Oh, I will. That's assault. 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 That's assault.
Oh, snap. That's assault. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Coogan is very close by. He's
I'll look in depth, Robert.
Too soon. He sends his love. He sends his love. How are you guys doing today? There we go. I guess that sounds too loud. Maybe it's me. Whatever. Maybe it was me, Fizz. How are you guys doing? Is everybody doing okay? That is assault. Listen, you guys, it's been a crazy day. I made a post about the yogurt shop murders on my Facebook page because I've been neglecting it. And oh my gosh, the amount of phone calls I got from people. Good, they were thrilled, but turns out a lot more people than I thought that I knew have people on both sides of it. And by both sides, I mean people who thought basically, thought the boys did it, and people who didn't, and then people who were actually involved in the trial, and then people who grew up next door to the victims and knew the victims and were very close, went to school with them, babysat them, and it was just, I think everybody kind of all did a trauma dump in the DMs, and it was a lot. But the overwhelming consensus, actually, I don't even have to say overwhelming, the entire consensus is thrilled, elated that there's finally answers and that it's scientific evidence and not just statements. So that's nice. And I have some stuff planned coming up soon in the coming weeks, I should say, for you guys. We're going to talk to some people who were directly affected by this, and you guys can kind of hear their perspective of it all. What's really kind of wild? This is just a side note on it all, but okay, when I first met Dylan, so it was about 10 years ago now, I lived in a teeny tiny apartment. Yeah, hi Donna, Oblivious Benson. Yeah, I changed it because one of you guys had a great idea, and I was like, that's fucking perfect. But anyway, I used to live in this tiny apartment when I first met Dylan, and he would come over all the time, and I think it was like 260 square feet. It was on campus. It was me, just myself, and I kept getting mail for this guy who lived there years before. I think I got like a pretty important mail. It was like school stuff about his degree, financial aid stuff. There was some pretty important mail. And I didn't know this fella. And I looked his name up, found him on Facebook, contacted him. And we ended up kind of becoming friends. He's like, add me on Facebook because I sent him his mail. And we are both very into strange candles. So anyway, that fella, such a nice dude, thrilled to bits to get his mail for him. He ruled. He grew up as he was the neighbor for Sarah and Jennifer Harbison, which was wild. Because I had no idea, and I think he lives in like New York now, but it's just crazy. And then my other friend Carla, her kid was best friends with Maurice Pierce, who died in that shootout with the cops. Or I guess not a shootout. They tackled him and ended up killing him. Because he retaliated. He stabbed a cop in the neck when he was down. So that was a mess. And he was one of the 4 who were accused, and 2 of them went to prison. Unjustly, not because they did it, obviously. But there's just and then another friend of mine worked with the guy who coerced the false confessions and just straight up sent me a DM like, oh my God, this guy's such a dick. Glad I quit that job at ABD. I was like, oh shit, dude. I thought you just fucked with puppets and comedy. I had no idea. So anyway, it's just been a crazy couple of days. So I thought, before we get into this heavy subject matter, I would kick back into a couple of updates with you guys, and then we'll get into it because we have a lot to talk about. And I do have some things to do today. I do want to make a correction first and foremost. On the last episode, I must be colorblind or out of my damn mind, because I was talking about John Jones' Shirt, the detective for the yogurt shop murders, and I think I might have even cried. I was very emotional, but I was thrilled thinking like he's going to get to wear his shirt again. And I called it a yellow shirt. And then I'd posted about it on something, either Reddit or Facebook. And somebody's like, wasn't the shirt green and white stripes? And I went, what? No, it was yellow. And I was like, oh my God, is this how I'm going to find out I'm colorblind? What's going on? And I looked at it, and it's very blatantly green and white. So, correction, not a yellow shirt. It was green and white. I don't know what's wrong with me. I think my TV might be old and have a natural, disgusting old TV filter on it. Everything does look the wrong colors. So, could just be a broken TV, but probably more like a broken brain. I've had a lot of concussions. Anyway, that's my correction, is green and white stripes, not yellow. So I hope John Jones gets to wear his green and white striped shirt. I'd like to say that. Another correction. I went back doing hella research on Robert Eugene, the serial killer who is being, being called as the killer. What am I looking for? I don't want to say suspect because he's not a suspect, right? They matched him with DNA. The killer, for the yogurt shop killers. So Brashear, Robert Eugene Brashear, I had notes on him for other cases, but this happened in 2019, and I think I started taking them during COVID when I started learning about him because, you know me, I like to look at the timelines and the patterns and see is this person connected to anything else. Had no idea he'd ever been in Texas. So I was thinking more Tennessee stuff. When I started looking through it, I was like, oh yeah, this is somewhere in the zeitgeist, I recall a standoff, and I thought it was on one of those craziest police chase things or possibly on a forensic files. And I went looking for the standoff, and I thought it was a police chase with a Brashear, aka Brashers, Brashears, if you will. I'm still not sure because I've seen people pronounce it Brashers and Brashears. But anyway, I'm thinking like there's a standoff out there that I saw with Brashears, and it's in those notes. And I went looking for it all online because the one in my notes, it was a Brashears, but it was a different one. And it was like an old ass archive. And it turns out that was a different family member who also died in a police standoff and is related to him. His was the one at the motel. And I'd seen that news footage and I thought they were just fucking it up. But no, turns out, different Brashears relative also died in a shootout with police. Either way, corrected it. Found I didn't find any of the video from it. There are some news archives that did a report with that from this Robert Brashears. So what I went ahead and did was I started putting together a comprehensive timeline. There are quite a few out there that people have done, but they tend to focus on either his crimes or his life. And because the DNA is pretty new in that it's like the last 5 years, most of his crimes have been, or I should say 6, 7 years, most of his crimes have started to come in as attributing to him, or being attributed to him. I was like, okay, well, let's combine those timelines, okay, and get a comprehensive timeline of where he's been, where he's lived, where he went to jail, where he worked, where he was in the military, stuff like that. Put it together combined with his crimes so that we can see it in order, including like family members, the birth of a kid, when he got married. I believe he got married in 1990, but I failed to put that on there, so I have to fix that. That was one of my notes to myself. But yeah, so I made a pretty comprehensive timeline for him. I will be adding to it if there's anything that needs to be changed, but I think it's pretty thorough. There are a few things that I would like to do to fact check before I add in some other information I've gathered, and also to make sure we have the right guy. Because believe it or not, there are other Robert Brashears out there and another Robert Eugene Brashears. So we're just gonna call him Robert Eugene. So I want to make sure that that's correct. So some things I haven't added to the timeline yet, but we'll get there. If I do change it, I will let you know. Also, we have some information that's very interesting about the David and Celeste case that we're going to get to today. And we're just going to start with that after we do some sillies, a little palate cleanse, not a lot, but I do have some videos I want to show you guys. It's been a heavy couple of days. I know that there's drama on the internet. A lot of you guys are not on X or the TikTok or, fucking everything else. Okay. You ordered merch while waiting because you love it. Thank you, Honey Salt. Thank you very much. I hope that you enjoy the merch. I always try to price it really cheap, like the bare minimum, so that we can have as many ridiculous shirts as possible. We do have Wet Virginia's on its way. I thought the drama was done too. But yeah, with like that's the whole Karen Reed thing. Everybody's fighting again. They tried to suck your dad in, and I said, and I rebuked that shit. Not really. I dipped my toe in, and I said, "Oh yeah, I forgot this fucking sucks." It's too much. It is too much. I cannot handle it. It's like you have you ever heard the phrase bleeding a rock? You ever heard that? Somebody squeezing a rock, hoping to get blood out of it, but it's just a fucking rock. It's not gonna bleed. You're not gonna get anything out of it. Kicking a dead horse, if you will. I feel like sometimes trials end and it's like church camp. People don't want to go home. But camp is over. You gotta fucking go home. Blood out of a turnip is a good one. Hello, Peggy O. I hope you are enjoying your Sunday. I mean, my God. How many fucking episodes and spaces and fucking how many platforms, TikToks, how many clips, how much can you fucking get out of this bitch? Like that. It's so wild. It is wild. I'm going to make a bet that 37, Sherlock, that's a high number. Just kidding. They've gone past 100. Like, I'm going to bet in 10 years, there's going to be constant drama, constant tweeting and harassment and just psychotic jargon, just yak. I don't know what else to call it. I used to call it bitch speak. It's just constant drama. There's going to be clips about what who wore, what who said, but remember that it's worse than the bloodline in wrestling. It's like this family tree's gotten out of hand, people. And it's crazy. There's a lot of, denounce people. I demand so many people. The word receipts, we should just get rid of it. I no longer care for the receipts because the receipts can be doctored. And then sometimes people take that to an unreasonable level. They're like, well, this guy fucking does AI, so maybe this is all AI. Well, they couldn't have meant anything bad. They were just talking shit about each other. Like, oh my God. Oh my God. Like, people are already picking sides of the battle, and I don't even know if their general knows about the war. It's fucking crazy. People are picking borders. They're like, if you live this fucking far away, you're not allowed to talk about it. And then there's people who get fucked on real bad and like their life gets ruined because of this shit. And then everyone yells at them, don't fucking, you shut up. We only care about one person's case only. You're not allowed to see your kids. You're not allowed to talk about work. You're not allowed to say those words. And then there's people who are like, I'm fucking ride or die. This guy could cut a baby's head off and I fucking love him for life. And it's like, what are we doing? Like, everybody. It's really a lot. It's really a lot. People are treating this shit like it's actual battle. Like, we're gonna draw by. How could you say this to me? It's so telenovela. It's fucking crazy. It's ass ladles every day, dude. Scoop it out because I don't care anymore. This shit is crazy. Oh my God. The amount of times I've seen, who the fuck is this bitch? How do we even know you? Prove you existed before the trial. I never seen you on the street. That is the best thing we've gotten out of this. VDOT has a pet lizard. I wrongfully named its gender. I called it a Mr. and it is a Mrs. I assumed gender on the lizard. Then I threatened it and I asked for receipts. VDOT has a lizard And it's actually pretty cute. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't think lizards could be cute, but it's pretty fucking cute. Speaking of cute, I guess I'm gonna show you guys. I feel like this is something that is gonna really get your goose, all right? Yeah. Oh, he's too cool. You want me to call him out? I'll fucking call him out right now. Larry Legend, you're being called out. You need to follow Ernie Birdie. Okay, you need to follow EB on Twitter. All right. Otherwise, I'm gonna do spaces about it. I'm gonna be like, why don't you follow Ernie Birdie on Twitter? What's your problem? You like Hillary Clinton or something? What is wrong with you? What are you, one of those bots? I don't even know how many there are. It plays softball. Who? The lizard? He has 2 lizards? The fuck? VDOT, get on here and show me your lizards. Never mind. You know what I mean. Show me the lizards. It's never too early for gummies, honey. They're very cute. They're very cute. Oh my God. They're really precious. It does remind me of the Geico gecko. It's like, yo, this lizard's pretty cute. Is it trying to sell me some fucking car insurance? What's going on? Colloquialism. By the way, that's for Reggie. I'm sure Fuzzy Lou likes it too. Colloquialism. Reggie's been loving that. Anytime I misspell colloquialism or try to say it on Twitter, she fucking enjoys the shit out of that. So you're welcome. Hope you guys are having a good colloquialism Sunday. Okay, here's what we're going to do, colloquialism. I'm going to show you guys some funny stuff, and then we're going to get into the heavy stuff, okay? This is one of the cute, funny things that I think you'd like. Remember the Moo Dang hat? By the way, was it equal parts? Who won the Moo Dang hat? Send me your fucking address, queen, so I can mail you your hat. Okay? Whoever won that. All right, here's what we got. If you don't remember Moo Dang, colloquialism, I'm going to show you guys Moo Dang. So this is something Moo Dang does, and I've been thinking a lot about this since I seen it. All right? Moo Dang, the little baby hippo. Here, let me... colloquialism. Let me start this shit. Let me make myself big so I can make Moo Dang big, and don't make fat jokes. It's not nice, even though I'm making one in my head at myself. Okay, I'm going to show you guys something cute. You guys want to see something cute on a Sunday? It's the Lord's Day. You want to see something cute from the Lord? The Lord invented Moo Dang, all right? So Moo Dang doesn't fuck around. Moo Dang's a tiny baby hippo. It was born dead, all right? It's the cutest thing I've ever seen. I tried to give away this hat. I don't think I got an address. Try to give away this hat. I'm frozen again. It's fine. It'll be fine. StreamYard is going to catch up. You guys can hear me, right? As long as you can hear me. Okay. So that's the hat. The Moo Dang hippo hat. Okay. So I kind of love Moo Dang. You did, Donna. Donna. Listen, if they don't want it, Donna, I feel like you deserve a Moo Dang hat. Might try to order more if they're still there. So Moo Dang does this thing, Donna. Listen, Moo Dang gets in his mom's food, okay? Imagine if your mom's about to eat some enchiladas and you just lay down in the plate. That's what Moo Dang does every day, and it's a real hassle for the people who got to take care of Moo Dang. So let me show you what that's like.
เดี๋ยวปุ้มช่วยถ่ายให้เดี๋ยวปุ้มถ่ายให้ปันดูถ่ายไหมเอาหมดแม่ถ่ายหมูดิ้งอย่างเดียวพอไม่กันแล้วน่ารักมากเลยเดี๋ยวปุ้มช่วยถ่ายให้เดี๋ยวปุ้มถ่ายให้ปันดูเอาหมดแม่ถ่ายหมูดิ้งอย่างเดียวพอไม่กันแล้วน่ารักมากเลย
You guys want to watch it again? I know I do. I don't know if they're puppies, but I think they are. I think they're fat sea puppies, dude. They're very moist. Hippos are very moist. These hippos remind me so much of the Hugin, because he does shit like this. He just corpses you like fucking Shawn Michaels, dude. Look.
เดี๋ ดี๋ยวปุ้มช่วยถ่ายให้ไม่ใช่กินลูกมีอาหารเดี๋ยวปุ้มถ่ายให้ปันดูทำได้ไหมเอาหมดแค่ถ่ายหมูดิ้งอย่างเดียวพอไม่กันแล้วไม่เลยน่ารักมากเลย
Okay, so Moodang's pretty fucking cute, huh? Jinx, what was it you said that time? You said, I'm falling at Erica. I was thinking about that the other day. Also, I was laughing so hard at this. Watch this.
Shut up.
First of all, who recorded that and they laugh in the video? That's great. Second of all, I'm going to play it again.
Shut up.
Listen, of course you can have a house hippo, okay? But you got to go to your local city council or select board and you got to do this.
I'm not quite sure why I'm here or what I'm doing, but there's a reason.
Ma'am, we're discussing the rezoning for the Portillos. Do you have any comments on that?
For what?
We're discussing the rezoning on 53rd for,
Well, I live on 63rd.
again, we're here to hear comments about the rezoning.
Well, I don't like Facebook, and I don't like the internet because I can't find a job. The library blocked my password. Now tell me, does that make any sense to you?
Now tell me, does that make any sense to you? Also, I'm your house hippo. And also, let's get a Spanish dog.
God damn, man, these motherfuckers gave me this goddamn dog for free. Come to find out how to speak Spanish. Come here, Snack. Vente. Sentate. Dame la mano, move.
Domalameno. You know what I mean? Domalameno. Okay? You guys want to do some moose stuff?
Look at this big fella here. Wow, Kalia, look at him. He's huge. Hey there, bud. Hey there, bud. You gotta... No, I'm not gonna touch you. Hey there, bud. Hey there, got a beer there, bud, huh? You just gonna send it? Yeah? Okay. You just gonna send it there, eh, bud? Huh?
Hey, bud. Hey. Hey, bud. You just gonna sit there? Hey. This makes me want to hear Canadian. You guys want to hear some Canadian? Hey, bud. I think I want to hear some Canadian.
Drive the fuck up there or you're gonna get booted the fuck out of here. Yeah, no, we're fine. Enough. No, you're not a tough guy. Hurry up. I'll fucking promise you that. Hurry up. He's pretty tough. Not that fucking tough.
No, he's not.
Not that fucking
He's not.
tough.
He's not tough.
No, he's pretty tough.
He's not tough.
Fucking tough.
You're not tough.
Hey,
You're not tough.
Let's get going.
Get going.
Or you can play behind us all and you can take all the fucking time you want. This is
golf.
fucking
You're not
embarrassing.
tough.
This is golf. This is not
Yeah,
golf.
it's not.
You can stand there 15 fucking minutes.
You
That's
can't
not
even.
golf.
You guys can't even stand
up.
and tee your ball up now.
Yeah, no, he's teeing it up, man. That's fine. He's not teeing it up. He's standing
Do
there.
we need to get the
the
police out here?
No, we don't need police. We're not.
Okay, then let's get going here.
Let's go. Pick your shit up and get going. This is not fun. We're what? I'm gonna throw him in this fucking lake. Is what's gonna happen. No, fuck you both. This is fucking bullshit. They've been sitting there for fucking 23 minutes.
I'll cry about it. Fucking cry about it.
I'm going to.
Fucking cry about it.
I'm gonna fucking
You
cry about
fucking
it.
pussy.
I'm a pussy.
Like, fucking cry about it.
Buddy, you're gonna get fucking shit to.
I don't give a fuck.
Like badly.
Good. Let's
Fucking
fucking
badly.
go, man.
Buddy, you don't want to go me.
No, I'm not filming this. I'm not stopping. No. You guys need to get off the golf course.
Yeah, we will, man.
No, now. Like, pack up, go now. Get in the car and go.
I don't know what you're doing. You're not scaring anybody. You're just making
I
yourself.
don't fucking care.
Hey, man.
Come on, man. Hey. Hey.
Off to a good start, buddy.
I fucking told you! Man, leave him alone.
You want another?
He
You
just
want one
fucking
too?
came at me. Leave him alone, man.
I got it all on record.
It's around the goal.
I got it all on record.
Around the goal. Hey. You want to fucking go, guys? Leave him alone. Hey, leave him alone, man.
I wouldn't keep going back, you fucking moron.
Hey. Bang! Come on, man. Bang! No, I'm not trying to get in there. Like, just like, fuck me.
Enough! Are you still cheering on you?
Enough! Get out! Hey.
Enough! Things going well for him.
Get him the fuck out of here!
No, it's not going to go well for him.
It's not okay.
Take him home or get him
I asked
fucking
him
out of
to
here.
fucking get moving! I said stop looking like an idiot!
Get out of here.
Fucking...
I said stop looking like an idiot. Of course, we got to do this one because, I mean, my gosh, like we have to. Please contact me today. I'm available to assist you, me, for all of your legal needs. That's true, Megan and Megan. If you need to be bullied, please contact Megan and Megan. And if you need to recover from a good bullying, please contact Megan and Megan. Also, who can we find out who they are and if there's an incident report? Well, one of them is a famous NHL player, and the other one is this guy.
These 4 men are deathly allergic to the raisin. They kissed their friend goodbye. The game was organized by this man. His name is Earl Wasman, and he runs over a dozen dark casinos in southern Pennsylvania. A dark casino is where you can risk your life in games of chance, but if you win, you can get over $1 million. This man knew the risks, but did it anyway for money, which is a form of greed. When I saw this video, I gathered all my friends and told them to release their worship of the dollar, greed. And if they ever visit a dark casino, they'll be writing a one-way ticket out of my life as a friend.
You will never go to a dark casino.
Well, you know, Melmac 4-1. I would love to, but okay, I'll do it.
Get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Big boy ain't been on the roof. Never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Big boy ain't lay on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy drill on the roof. Never seen a big boy drill on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy drill on the roof. Big boy drilling on the roof. Big boy drilling on the roof. Big boy ain't drilling on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Big boy ain't climbing on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. How you do it like that? Damn, you got tools on your back. Climbing on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Shit, big boy get loose. Shit, big boy get loose. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never, shit, and you falling on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy hop on the roof. How you do it like that? Bro, shit, you just like a fat. Shit, you pick up your back. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Get on the roof. Get on the roof. Get your ass out the roof. Get your ass back out the roof. I ain't never see a big boy leap on the roof. Take a big ass off.
I will give you Sam, but I don't know who Sam is. Which Sam are you talking about? It depends. It depends. Oh my gosh, where am I? Bring me up. Okay. Who's Sam? Tell me and I will get you Sam. Okay. It's Sunday. It's Sunday. Are you talking about this?
เดี๋ยวปุ้นช่วยถ่ายให้ไม่ใช่กินลูกมีอาหารปะเดี๋ยวปุ้นถ่ายให้ปันดูเอาหมดถ่ายหมูดิ้งอย่างเดียวพอไม่กันแล้วไม่เลยน่ารักมากเลย
I love Mudang. Or are you talking about this guy? The face where she's like, it's so good. I do not remember what this is, but we're about to find out.
My whole day's fucked now that this cunt's back. I can't get a fucking fish because they're all scared because of this fucking oversized flat mutt. You dog, mate. I'll get in the fucking water, cunt. You want me to get in there? I'll stick your fucking barb in your eye, cunt. You fucking dog.
I'm sorry. That's how I call Stevie. That's how I call Stevie. The other one is how I call Mitty. I play the Canadian golf video to get Mitty. And then to get Stevie, I play that one. So ridiculous. I forgot I had that. I just like it that the Australian guy is screaming at that fucking stingray. It's so funny. All right. No, I do have that. I don't know what this is, but it looks pretty good. I'm kind of scared to play it, though. I'm like, is it in a ropes? I don't think so. Why is it in here?
What is that? It's a raccoon. That is not a dead raccoon.
What is it then?
That's your cat.
Oh. Do you wanna hold him?
What happened to it?
Daddy ran over it.
With the lawnmower?
Yeah.
Oh.
Kinda. But he still can move. See?
Oh my god.
Pet one.
Pet what?
You wanna pet a worm?
Not really.
Why?
I don't. Do you want to pet a worm?
No.
Okay, I don't either.
They don't have teeth.
Oh, they don't? Okay.
Just pet them. Just pet them.
Here's another one.
Oh, okay. Oh. Put them in the boat. He's climbing up the hill. How big this thing is.
Good gosh. Okay.
Let's get in the bucket.
No. No.
Get her in the bucket?
No, it'll come out. You need to put her down.
No.
She does not want Harrison.
Please.
Harrison, I can't put her in the bucket. Oh my god, no.
Num, num. Num, num.
Yum yum.
I forgot about that. That one's pretty funny, actually. I did see you met Sam because Sam, you talking about, okay. We'll play Mini Mall at the end because all of these are prior uploads. So I don't have access to it right away. But if you can give me a moment to freeze for an undetermined amount of time towards the end, because it will do that if I try to switch videos. If you don't mind sending through that, I will play it. We'll close out with that. Donna Barkley, thank you for $4.98. Well, you know, if Donna gets what Donna wants, you want to pay for Big Boy, you get Big Boy, okay? You don't have to. I would have done it anyway, but here we go.
Get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Big boy ain't been on the roof. Never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Big boy ain't lay on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy drill on the roof. Never seen a big boy drill on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy drill on the roof. Big boy drilling on the roof. Big boy drilling on the roof. Big boy ain't drilling on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Big boy ain't climbing on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. How you do it like that? Damn, you got tools on your back. Climbing on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Shit, big boy get loose. Shit, big boy get loose. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never, shit, he's falling on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy hop on the roof. How you do it like that? Bro, shit, you just like a fat. Shit, pick up your back. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Get on the roof. Get on the roof. Get your ass out the roof. Get your ass back out the roof. I ain't never see a big boy leap on the roof. Get the big ass out.
I love Big Boy. He's so good. I love it when he's on a roof. Titties on your back. You're the best, Mel Mac. And thank you very much, Donna. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, ladies. That will all go to Hugin's decline. And by decline, I mean we're just going to trim them. But he screams like we're declining him because he's crazy. Okay. So before we actually read the press release, I want to show you that came out from Austin Police Department and kick it into high gear into the serious stuff. I did want to go over something that happened with the Celeste David case. First and foremost, David, who moderated his own sub before it got locked down, hello Darcy, hello Foxy, he started taking down a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff that looked pretty bad for him. Can't take it all down because it's all bad for him, right? But he's also been gaming a lot on Fortnite, all the shit, like everything he plays. He's got a Roblox account. He's got the Fortnite account. He's got all these different gaming accounts. And boy, has he been playing. He's even been communicating with some people. Some info came out this last week that he attended parties in the Hollywood Hills, okay, with other rap artists, both up and coming and well known, apparently. And at these parties, up to about 2 years ago, okay, and some before, he would show up with Celeste. Some of his inner circle confirmed this to fucking everyone. Ban, TMZ, NPR, fucking everyone. They said that they were under the impression, based on what they were told by some claim the manager, some claim David, but they were told she was a 19-year-old student from the University of Southern California. She does not even look like a 13-year-old student from a middle school, but they chose to believe this. Okay. Also, the footage of her in the balcony that the police and everybody else has said, that's not her. We've cleared it. That's what they told TMZ, apparently. That's not her. Everybody on the internet has said, I rebuke that shit. Hadouken that. I choose to believe it. That's what they say. Okay. So everybody's calling bullshit and just not accepting that. Okay. Whether it's because they don't want to believe the truth or whether it's because it's not the truth, who knows? But everybody's like, nah, that's her. Okay. So, meanwhile, while law enforcement has told numerous outlets that girl was not Celeste, Lauren Conlon and a couple of other people had a podcast. Some other guy actually had a podcast, and they're talking about this. And she's like, yeah, that's her. It looks like her. Okay. Other people on Reddit are like, that's fucking her. Get out of here. Okay. And then eventually Harvey Levin is even like, her, So the consensus with that is I'm going to go with not her, even though I do think it looks like her, until we know for sure. Will we know for sure? I don't know that. But it's not really going to change anything because the poor baby girl is still dead and that guy's still not in jail. But I do find it weird that numerous people stated that he was at parties with her. They were quiet. They would stay in the corner. Meanwhile, the rumors are running rampant. A lot of people do this when there's a case and there's no answers and it's taking time, or perhaps you're not getting the answers you want. A lot of rumors start to happen, okay? And when they don't have anywhere to place the blame, what do? They pick someone who hasn't been blamed yet, and then they blame them. And they hop from person to person until they do. Remember the rock thing? Bleeding a rock? They will fucking soak all the juice out of a person. Like literally, let me chew you up and spit you out. We're done. Okay, now we're going to blame this person. They've been doing that with the family. There have been rumors about the cartel and about trafficking and about, there's trouble at home. And all kinds of people are spreading this information as if it were so, without having spoken to any of the family. Okay. And this is not something that law enforcement has put out. So instead of being careful and erring on the side of caution, since they just lost their fucking child to a potential TikTok star, And considering how graphically horrific it sounded when she was found, why are we doing that? Why not wait and see what happens? Why do we have to fill space with bullshit and risk other people's mental health, their reputation? I mean, because it's pretty bad when you accuse someone of murder, right? But also risk being a dickhead. Like, why do we have to do that? Why do we have to do that? At worst, he's a psycho, and at best, he's a chomo. I will agree with that. Now, here's the difference between her family and David, okay? Her family actively put out a missing persons flyer. Her family went to the police multiple times asking for help. Her family did not in any way state at all ever to any media, yeah, we told her, we're like, bye forever, have fun with your new boyfriend. No. What they said was, she told us she was going to the movies with her boyfriend, a guy named David. She was 13, 14. She was allowed to have a boyfriend. She would have been 13, about to be 14. They didn't know his age, apparently. They said, you can go to the movies with David. She was supposed to return. She didn't. So there's a missing persons report. Nowhere in there, okay, was there anything about trafficking or anything about the cartel? Yet people like to make shit up in their mind. Remember in Idaho with Jack the Core and with all the Greek life members and with the families? Literally, people made all that shit up, and guess who it ended up being? Brian Koberger. Fascinating. They tortured Dylan and Brittany over that. Bethany, sorry, and they're still doing it, even though he's been found guilty. So apparently, the first time, sorry, let me pull this up because this is a great point. So the first time she ran away with him, okay, they knew that she was with a guy named David. Apparently, and this was reported by the news. Well, I shouldn't say I guess TMZ's the news now. Apparently they spoke with family members. This is what they said. And they said that the family had a number to a guy, and it was Josh Marshall, allegedly. That is David's manager. And they said, is David there? Is Celeste there? Can you tell her to get the fuck home? She's only 13. This is alleged. So then she magically reappears. You see how that works? Then she disappears again. They try to contact this number again, okay? And this is Josh's number, allegedly. The person doesn't respond. So they know that she went to the movies with a guy named David. They could have thought that was David's dad. They didn't know much about him. Keep in mind, they speak primarily Spanish. The brother, who I assume speaks better English, maybe, he's the one who goes to the police. And he's like, I know what David it is. Fucking go get this. She ran away again. Help. Okay. And apparently this was actually the third time she ran away, but we're not splitting hairs here. They called. They said, we can't do anything. They walked into the station. They're like, please, this is where she is. They didn't do anything. So what do? Keep in mind, as the young person pointed out, I'm assuming they're young. They said they knew her. As someone pointed out in the chat the other day, this is also during the ICE raids, okay? And it's a scary time out there. So there's a lot going on in their neighborhood, and the police are not being helpful. So that's what's going on there. This is what's weird, though. David moved out of the house. The landlord broke the lease with this Josh guy who supposedly never really lived there. He would pop in once in a while, but he was never there, supposedly. David moves out. Turns out there's cameras all over the fucking place. Turns out the neighbors have her on camera walking around the fucking neighborhood and leaving and going to the house. Yet for some reason, David is still free and was able to move out. People are presuming he went back to Houston. We don't know. He's not on bail. Maybe he could. Here's what trips me out. right around this time, after he moves out, just the other day, people naturally start flocking to the family in Houston. The mother of David, bless her heart for this, is seen leaving a gun store, holding up a manual, like very visible, about how to build AR-15 assault rifles, while wearing a t-shirt that says "Send nudes." Everybody jumped up Amanda Knox's ass for being a cat burglar for Halloween. I'm sorry. Why is the mother of David walking around in it? I'm going to judge. I typically don't do that. I try to be nice, but I'm judging this one. Send nudes? She knows, she has to know what is going on in the news with her son. Why the fuck would you choose to wear that shirt? She clearly wants people to know she's getting a gun. Okay, bitch, it's Texas. Have fun with that. Why are you wearing that shirt? What is wrong with you? Ew. Least of her problems, I'm sure, but my God, have some common sense. Don't wear a shirt that says "Send nudes" out in public when you know people are fucking watching you, and your son just had a young girl who is illegal, like not supposed to be. That's saying she's his girlfriend. Like, he's a young girl that is missing. Okay. All right. It is illegal for you to be with her romantically, and you've been parading her around. It's disgusting. Since she was possibly 11. Why would you ever wear that shirt? Exactly, Angela. Perversion is taught. Something's up. It's fucking weird. It's tacky. Okay. It's just wrong. It's a slap in the face to the parents of that girl. Even if he didn't kill her, he was still with her. I mean, they literally have him on camera at that house as she is coming and going. Get the fuck out. Don't wear that shirt in public. Have some fucking common sense. If anything, have some morals. Be a decent human. Disgusting. Still a chomo. Uncouth, to say the very least. That Megan. Yeah, and they're homeschooling their kids, which is a big thing here. A lot of people in Texas get mad that some of the school, they tried to, okay, you guys think the laws against women here are fucked up? Let's talk about textbooks for 1 minute. Let's veer off course for 1 minute. Our Texas legislature had a special session right after we had multiple mass shootings at schools and churches, the biggest ones in our history, actually. Not only did they skip some of those to go to NRA conferences, they then took their time in the legislature to craft legislation to get a couple of things out of our textbooks in schools. Do you know what they were? They wanted to get rid of Helen Keller. They wanted to take Hillary Clinton and any mention of her in history out of the textbooks. Helen Keller, Hillary Clinton. Oh yeah, what was the other one? Fucking slavery? Let's get rid of slavery. We don't need them to know about that. They wanted to revise the fucking definition of the Confederate flag. And then, as if it couldn't get any crazier, Native Americans. Oh, there's one more. We got a top 5. Are you ready? Who knows? Oh, Foxy, perfect timing. Evolution. Native Americans, slavery, Helen Keller, Hillary Clinton, evolution. That's what they took out. That's what they said. Nope. And then they put prayer back in schools. And they didn't give a fuck. And now they're giving teachers guns. So that is where we're at here with education. Okay. And I just wanted to point that out, that that's what was going on. And around that time, there was a fight in the court. And they said, hold off on that for a hot damn minute while this goes up to the Supreme Court. And during that time, with the addition of COVID possibly resurfacing and kids having to wear masks again, an influx of people said, you know what? Let me start my MLM and homeschool my own kids. So get ready, because in 10 to 20 years, there's going to be a lot of fucking dipshits running around. That's all I have to say about that. Okay. So, yeah, he did. Our senator did. He went to Cancun while we were freezing without power and water. And you know what's funny? They did a news broadcast where they interviewed our mayor in Austin, and then they interviewed what's his name, Governor Abbott, when the electrical grid was shutting down. And they were only putting the electricity and the water out in poor neighborhoods. And Greg Abbott and the fucking head of the electrical grid company, whatever it's called, and then our mayor in Austin went on the news to talk about it. And they said, we need to conserve electricity. Okay, so please, we can't even do rolling blackouts. It's going to be days because you guys are wasting electricity. And the whole time they have 1,000 lights on in the room and a fake electric fire behind them. Oh my God. Like, it's really crazy. I can't handle it. Also, Cruz, his daughter, who I think is bi, she talked about being bi, and he took away her fucking Instagram and her TikTok, and then she wanted to wear a crop top in family photos. So he shows up to the White House one day and has these photos, and he approaches this social media lady and he's like, can you fix my family photos? And made her add on to the crop top and like Photoshop clothing on his kids. It's fucking crazy. He's a nutbag. He's a real big nutbag. Anyway, here's what we're going to do. For those of you who just showed up, because we do have quite a few people who just showed up, we're about to get started onto the subject matter, but that's what's going on with David. Okay, that's what's going on there. But for those who just showed up, I feel like you guys might need this. I feel like this is something that's going to get you going and ready for today's topic, because it's a bummer. As all serial killer topics are, it's a real bummer, but it's also great news because now we've got answers. I want to send a special shout out and thank you to the daughter of Robert Eugene Brashears for helping to solve this, because without her, it would not have been done. Just wouldn't. And I've seen all the interviews with her, and she's beautiful. She seems like a great soul. And she was in no way hesitant to help. She was like, yes, let me help. Do you guys need my DNA? You got a kid in the car? Let's do it now. She rules. She helped solve a lot of cases. She's been going through it since she found out in 2018. She's a good lady. I want to say thank you to her, Deborah. With that said, those of you just arriving, we're about to get started. But first, maybe a little Big Boy on the Roof.
Get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Big boy ain't been on the roof. Never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Big boy ain't lay on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy grill on the roof. Never seen a big boy grill on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy grill on the roof. Big boy grilling on the roof. Big boy grilling on the roof. Big boy ain't grilling on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Big boy ain't climbing on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. How you do it like that? Damn, you got tools on your back. Climbing on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Shit, big boy get loose. Shit, big boy get loose. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never, oh shit, he falling on the roof. I ain't never see a feel way. How you doing like that? Oh, shit, you just make a bet. Oh, shit, pick up your back. Oh, I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Get on the roof. Get on the roof. Get your ass out the roof. Get your ass back out the roof. I ain't never see a big boy leap on the roof. Pick up his ass.
Oh, shoot. Oh, thank you so much, Ernie Birdie. I'm going to play it for you again, but I'm going to do it in a minute. First of all, Stevie, that is the call, I guess. I guess the call to Stevie is Big Boy on the Roof. Second of all, no, I haven't. Please email it to me so I can get my squirms in. Also, oh my God, the cool baby's doing squirms too. Hey, can we name it Moodang? Can you name your colt baby Moodang? And also, congratulations. And also, I lied, EB. Guess what you're getting? Guess what you're getting along with colt baby?
เดี๋ยวปุ้มช่วยถ่ายให้ไม่ใช่กินลูกเนื้อหานปะเดี๋ยวปุ้มถ่ายให้ปันดูหันหน้าเอาหมดแค่ถ่ายหมูดิ้งอย่างเดียวพอไม่กันแล้วน่ารักมากเลย
Well, great. That I'll settle for it. I will settle for it. I love that. I love it so much. Dude, that could be you and Colt Baby. Colt Baby's gonna get your food like Moodang. You're gonna be so cute. Okay. So let's start talking about what happened this past week with the yogurt shop murders case. A lot of people on my timeline on Facebook, when we were talking about it, they were like, is it real? Is it real? One of them even said they still won't believe it until they see a press conference. And I was like, okay, fair enough. A lot of people had doubts because of the amount of times we've been told we know who did it, and then they were wrong, or it wasn't true, or it was just some bullshit. But APD put this out. They do not put out press releases through the City of Austin website if they don't damn well mean it. So I'd like to share with you today. It's directly from our police department. Austin police have made a significant breakthrough in the 1991 I Can't Believe It's Yogurt murder case, and we have new information. Our team never gave up working this case. For almost 34 years, they've worked tirelessly and remained Sarah Harbison, Eliza Thomas, and Amy Ayers, all innocent lives taken senselessly and far too soon. We have identified a suspect in these murders through a wide range of DNA testing. The suspect is Robert Eugene Brashers, who committed suicide in 1999. This remains an open and ongoing investigation. That's the part that tripped me out. I'll tell you why in a minute. APD investigators have been in touch with the families. We ask for your patience as we continue this process and remain mindful of the many people whose lives have been deeply affected. Okay. Let's talk about that. A couple of things. An interview was done with Margaret Moser. She was not the DA at the time this happened. We probably had 2 or 3 DAs since. Maybe even more. Margaret, was one of the DAs who came on after Rosemary Lindbergh, but before a new DA. She made a statement in a 17-minute interview where she did a sit down with one of her local news stations yesterday. And she was asked directly if he did it alone, okay? And if they are going to officially declare basically a whole, like technically an exoneration for 2, but I guess it would be all 4 because they've all had their names flung through the fucking mud, but one is dead. So are they going to publicly state that the 4 boys have nothing to do with it? And of course, if you watch the documentary, you know that they even went out there and said maybe there was a 5th one since they couldn't find DNA. She got visibly uncomfortable, okay, and essentially stated, like, nah, not until we're sure. But she thinks that basically they could open it up and continue investigating, but then repeats that it was the confessions that threw them off. Like, why would you confess again? One of them had a fucking gun to his head. I think we know why, Margaret. Can you chill? You can tell she was visibly emotional. You can tell she meant well. She claims that she doesn't think they're going to, she basically beat around it. She's like, I don't think they're going to necessarily declare anything until they're done investigating it, which is strange. But also believes he acted alone, or he could have. But also there's more to do to determine where he was, how he got there. And essentially, was he working with someone else? And did he know any of the boys or any of the other suspects? This is what they do in Austin when they don't want to be wrong. And you damn well know they're about to get hit with some lawsuits. I mean, they already have, but they're going to get hit with a lot more. Victor Polanco already lost lawsuits, already got in trouble. I can't remember if he's Hector or Victor. I always fuck his name up. Either way, Detective Polanco's already gotten in a lot of trouble, but not nearly as much as he fucking deserves. They've already lost lawsuits to other people who spent time in prison and or almost got the death penalty because of this guy and then were exonerated. So this would be like if Stephen Avery happened like 4 times. Like, it's crazy. The fact that they just won't go, yeah, it was this guy and not the, again, she's not the DA anymore. We have to wait for the press conference. But I thought that statement was very telling. This remains an open and ongoing investigation. Why? If you have the guy, why? It also leads me to think maybe they do think there was a second person. Because remember what I was saying? I would find it weird if there was just one, considering 2 guns were used. However, the suspect, Robert Brashears, doesn't seem to have ever used a second person. However, he also ran a construction business where he traveled, and he likely didn't do it alone. So he probably had workers, work people, who knows? He might have had someone there who he pressured to kill them, and then that person could have ended up dead. We don't know. This is all speculation, but we know that he fucking did it based on the DNA. I mean, he definitely sexually assaulted them, and he definitely shot them because the striations from the bullet that was in the drain matched his gun that he killed himself with. So this was the guy. The question is there a second person? That's what I think is going to be the reason it remains an open and ongoing investigation. With that said, I do hope at the press conference they do choose to clear the names of the boys and don't continue a witch hunt on them, considering all they've been through. And also, one has passed away. And he died maintaining he had nothing to do with it. So there's that. Anyway, that was the press release that was put out. I think it says a lot. I think it does in not a lot of words. Oh, good. I'm frozen again. Fantastic. It says a lot in not a lot of words, but it's interesting. Okay, so there's a lot more that I have to show you that's really bizarre. And we're going to watch CeCe Moore's conference where she talks about this fella. And when the yogurt shop was announced, a YouTube page that only posts CeCe Moore content, that I think could be her. I don't know exactly who it is, but they hadn't posted in years. And then they posted a conference she gave about Robert Eugene Brashears. And she also went on record for a local news stating that she always knew he did more. Like, she just knew he had to be involved in more. There's no way this guy didn't do more. You know what I mean? She had a sick feeling in her stomach that he was responsible for a lot of other shit. And when we talk about the profile of each crime scene, which we will, you will see why. It is distressing, to say the least. We're going to do that today. First, let me play you some of our local news. And I am going to also play you a news report that features the daughter of Robert Brashears and what she had to say to our local news affiliates about her feelings on her dad. And I think it's very important. If we get kicked off for some reason, I'm going to try to do my pauses in between so we don't. But if we do, just wait and I'll be right back, okay? But I think this is important enough to where we shouldn't. So let me go ahead and pull this up for you guys, and then we're going to go through the timeline, okay? Okay.
Shears was well known to law enforcement. He had a conviction for attempted murder in Florida in 1985. And when Shears killed himself in 1999, again, it was 1999, I misspoke earlier, he had active warrants in Arkansas for a previous arrest while trying to break into a woman's home.
So those active warrants are in Paragould, Arkansas. One thing I want to point out, they talk about, you know how I always complain about how on the East Coast you can just go through like 5 states in 20 minutes, and I think it's crazy. Well, apparently, even though he was right across the border from one of his crime scenes, or one of the crimes that he committed, he was literally 45 minutes away in Arkansas for 2 of them. One of them was in Tennessee. And I just thought that was something interesting to note. But yeah, this guy, he also would leave for weeks at a time. Like, he would leave his home for weeks at a time, and the kids were told that he is out working.
It wasn't until 2006 that advancements in DNA matching tied Shears to the 1990 murder of a woman in Greenville, South Carolina. Over the following years and decades, Shears would be tied to a 1997 rape of a 14-year-old girl at gunpoint in Memphis, Tennessee.
Now, in that one, she was actually in a house with a bunch of people when he just knocked on the door, which is wild.
And the 1998 sexual assault of a Missouri mother and her 12-year-old daughter. The bodies of Sherry and Megan Scherer were found in a rural southeast Missouri home. Shears was tied to the killings after his body was exhumed in 2018.
By the way, let me go back a little. A lot of people thought that this was Tommy Lynn Sells for some reason, but I thought he was in jail or just not nearby at the time. So that's something interesting to note.
Was exhumed in 2018 for further DNA testing.
Also, there's a young lady who went to his grave and she went to go show it. And this was, I believe, a 2018 video. When she goes to it, it had just been exhumed and it was just completely grown over with stuff because they put it in the loose soil. So she wet it with a water bottle, and it's so crazy because it looks like just a cement slab and you can barely read it, but it looks so different from the other graves. And I just never seen like a gravesite after something's been exhumed, and it's very interesting the difference between the soil. It's some, I don't know why, I just have never thought about that before, and it tripped me out.
Now, we asked APD about investigative genealogy last year. The department told us that it's not just as simple as having a matching profile in the database. Officers told us they first work with scientists in case management to determine if they have enough DNA to perform what's called a genetic genealogy. APD tries to use state labs before private labs because of...
So I have an issue with this. State labs over private labs. I think we should do a whole episode on this. I had a friend, I think I told you about her. She's a genetic genealogist, but like she also worked at a body farm. And she has a lot of serious thoughts on this. Why? Because depending on the state, that can be detrimental for a case. Let me explain a little further and then we'll continue. JonBenet Ramsey. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. Remember how we talked about John Ramsey the other day and how he encouraged them. He said, please go to Othram. They can actually take the tiniest bit without degrading what you have. And even if what you have is the tiniest bit that's degraded, you only need 10,000th of a picogram. That's all you need. Please give it to Othram. Is it the cost? Because I'll pay for it. And they said, no, we're sending it off to a state lab to get tested again. We're talking about the DNA on the garage, right? This is the same state lab that has failed to get profiles before. This is the same state lab that costs about the same as Othram for them to use. Private funding from JonBenet's father would prevent them from having to spend anything. Othram Labs has so much better, and this is my opinion, so much better technology than most state labs, which is why they're used so often. The same with Parabon. They're amazing. I'm a genetic genealogist, not a professional, but I do search angel work for adoptees. Oh my God. I used to do that with my friend Lisa. NPE and donor convinced individuals. I found dozens of families for them. And you know who else also fucks around with that? Because I usually work with private adoptions, but Tombstones is really good at that. My great aunt was exhumed after a guy admitted to murdering her. The whole thing was messed up. Oh my God, did it help? Like, were they able to catch the person? And yeah, and Parabon can work with picograms too, but they say that the more the profile you have, the better. And I think when we do our episode, you should come on. I want to show you guys a bunch of the different faces that have been made up from just the tiniest bit of DNA. It's amazing. It really is.
The high costs that can come with this process. And the department also points out that people who utilize services like Ancestry.com have to opt in for their information to be uploaded for any matching.
So I love how they talk about that like that's a bad thing. Like, first of all, opting in is done by a lot of people, so it can't hurt to try, like literally. So just do it. I don't understand. It's very wild. Anyway, we're gonna go on to the next one. This is the daughter of Robert.
Can't help but relive those images.
4 girls found dead in a burning yogurt shop. It's a case that marks a dark chapter in Austin's history.
I mean, he had to be a messed up person to do that.
Okay, also, I'm going to show you something in a minute that is going to trip you out. Hold on.
I mean, he could have just took and left. I mean, he had to do what he did.
More than 3 decades.
That boy, by the way, his interviews made me cry. Like, he was on a couple of news, what do you call it? Newscasts from the archives that I was looking at, and he was tore up.
Decades later, a major revelation.
My father was a very messed up person.
So this is Deborah. Okay, this is the daughter who was 7 years old. She was one of the hostages in the hotel room, which we're going to talk about in a little bit.
And I feel so very sorry for all 4 families and lives that were ruined.
Well, new details tonight in the breaking news from today. A suspect identified by Austin police in the yogurt shop murders. Robert Brashears, a man police call a serial killer with an extensive criminal history. The case was recently thrust back into the public consciousness with...
Also, some people have been arguing about whether or not he's a serial killer. He is. Okay, he is. It's more than 3. Okay, there's multiple instances, and he has a lot of attempted murders behind his belt. Also, let me pop in and tell you guys something interesting I forgot to tell you last time. Robert Brashears also has a nickname in the zeitgeist of his crimes, and it's Mr. Maroon, because he drove around, I believe it was a maroon van, okay? He would get out of the van, and then he would just approach, and it could be outside, it could be inside. On 1 or 2 occasions, he broke in while someone was sleeping, okay? And on multiple occasions, he would literally stroll up and do this. You could have children. I mean, they did. People had children, and he just walked up, kids there, and was like, I'm doing this. The young girl that got raped in Tennessee, there were 3 other people in the house, okay? I believe 2 might have been adults. He brandished a weapon, okay? The mother and the daughter, there's a kid there, okay? Then a woman that he attempted to rob 2 hours after killing Megan and Sherry Share, the mother and daughter, had 3 kids in the yard with her. So he did not care. So to think it's unreasonable that this guy would approach 2 girls, because remember, 2 of the girls were in the back of the yogurt shop. And the person likely didn't know they were back there yet. But regardless, to approach 2 girls or 4 is not unusual for him. He had already done it twice. The mother had 3 girls in the yard with her. In the house with the teen that he did it to had 4 people in it, okay? So for him to approach multiple women or children Not unusual. This would have definitely, that we know of, marked his third time doing that. Fourth, if you include the mother and daughter, okay, were killed. That's a lot. He also held, let's say actually technically 5, because think about it, he also held his family members hostage. That's 4. Like, he didn't have an issue with groups. So that's something that I think is really important.
A new HBO Max documentary that tells the new generation about what happened. 4 teenage girls killed at the I Can't Believe It's yogurt shop in North Austin on December 6, 1991. After a fire, first responders found the bodies of 17-year-old Jennifer Harbison, her 15-year-old sister Sarah Harbison, 17-year-old Eliza Thomas, and 13-year-old Amy Ayers. This new suspect, Robert Brashears, Austin police, they tied him to the case through DNA. He has never been tied to the investigation before this.
You hear that? He's never been tied to the investigation before this. That's important. A lot of people were asking that question. Did they even know about this guy? Where did he come from? There you go. They never even considered him. Okay.
He did have a long history, criminal history, before killing himself during a standoff with police in Missouri in 1990. KXAN's Nabil Rabadna spoke with Brashears' daughter as she herself learned about this new revelation.
How long have you known about the...
Foxy, or wait, who was it? Reggie. It's called The Yogurt Shop Murders, and it's on HBO Go. It's called The Yogurt Shop Murders on HBO Go. And also, I am putting up, I finally finished it. It is a massive, massive list for you guys, okay? It has every link to everything imaginable that has to do with the suspect, okay? It's going to have his timeline. It's going to have a list of resources. And then I have a YouTube playlist. In addition, every episode or series or documentary that has to do with Robert Eugene Brashears, any and everything, I have it on the list. Just to give you a little taste of what I'm talking about. This is how much he has been featured prior to being named the Yogurt Shop Murder Killer, okay? On the case with Paula Zahn, an episode called Connected by Murder, Evil Lives Here, season 10, episode 8, The Genetic Detective, Hunt for the Runaway Killer, 2020, and Bloodline Detectives, season 2, episode 16, called Family Torn Apart, hosted by Nancy Grace herself. Nancy Grace, the raccoon, by the way, made a cameo on X, and I will show it to you next week.
Yogurt Shop Murders, were you alive when they happened?
Yeah, I was 4 months old when they happened. But I'm just finding out.
Teddy? What the fuck is up, Teddy? I was just talking about you and Turbo yesterday to someone. Yesterday, I was talking, actually, and this morning, I talked to Legend Larry about you guys and said that you guys were in the fucking courtroom. And I'm going to need your help. I need to send him a bunch of documents for the case. Also, I hope you're well, Teddy. We need to follow up on Erica Morris. By the way, you guys are going to be furious. Okay, let me just pop in here real quick. We're derailing one more time. I don't want to be rude, but oh my God, they dropped the ball on Erica's cat killer case. It pisses me off so bad. Now I'm starting to think maybe they are fucked up there. I'm sorry, but oh my God, what the hell? It's a lot. I need to go see the follow-up to make sure they didn't reclaim it and go, nah. But oh my God, it's infuriating. What a psycho. In my opinion, allegedly. We're gonna have to have Teddy on for that, and Turbo, and we're gonna have to have Jinx back to tell us about her falling in the courtroom and going, no, or whatever it was. Oh my God. Anyway, so as you can hear, when this young lady was just, what'd she say, 4 months old, this is the daughter. She is a sweetheart, and we're very grateful for her, okay? And I feel bad for her. She's also on Dr. Phil. She is very choked up and crying, and she even kind of argues with Dr. Phil for a minute because he tells her, he's like, this is not your fault. You are not your dad. And she's like, I am. I'm half of him. And I'm like, oh, honey, quit crying. It makes me so sad. but you can tell she has an extremely empathetic heart. And I absolutely adore her. And I'm so grateful for her. They did not even have to ask her for genetic testing. She offered it before they could ask. The second they said, we think your dad did this, we're trying to solve it. She's like, what do you need? I will help you. And it broke her heart because she loved her dad. And they really just thought he was sick, I guess. She'll tell you about it.
I was 4 months old when they happened. But I'm just finding out here recently today about them is when I got the email about what was going on. I was cooking dinner and I seen it on my phone and I was like, wait a minute. So I Googled my father's name, which I haven't done in a while. Like for the longest time, I would Google my name or my father's name just to see if there was new things that come out.
You mentioned DNA.
I have to say, could you imagine that? Like, really try to put yourself in her shoes. You've just spent years grappling with the fact that your dad did horrific things to other people all over the country. You've said your piece. You've expressed apologies, even though you didn't have to. You know, you did everything you could to help. And then they tell you he's responsible for the yogurt shop murders. And you go, oh, what is that? Like, you don't even know about that. And you look it up, and it's one of the most horrific cases in Texas history or in the United States. It's got a documentary out. Like, she found out about this the day before yesterday. Like, they didn't even tell her. They told the victims' families. Oh my gosh. Like, her world had to crumble at that moment. I really feel bad for her.
DNA kind of helped connect all of these cases from 85 to the early mid 90s. Did police come to you and ask you for DNA?
Yes. September 2nd of 2018, September 2nd or 3rd, 2018, the police knocked on my door and gave me their police cards and showed me that they were from Kennett, Missouri. And that's where my father killed himself at.
So Kennett is where they had the standoff in the hotel, and she was held hostage.
They're like, your father's one of 50 people that we have spoken with, and he may be involved in crimes of 2 murders, one in South Carolina and one in Missouri. At the time, I was trying to give them all the information that I could. They're like, hey, we have a DNA test in the car. Can we use that? And I said, yes.
DNA test in the car. Yeah, let's do it. I love her.
I don't mind using the DNA test and all. I don't mind helping at all, whatever.
How was your relationship with him as a child? Did you ever suspect that he could have done some of these horrible things?
I held my father on a pedestal for a very long time because I didn't think he was this evil person. I just thought he had mental health issues and he couldn't.
See what I mean? They just thought he had mental health issues. And other people have said this before. Also, I've brought it up on this channel when we found out. I think there was because of the 2 different guns, right? One of the guns, the one that tied him to the crime scene directly, aside from the DNA, ironic, I'm not gonna say anything, but very Richard Allen-esque. But in this case, there were striations. It was in the drain. Okay, so they pulled that out. The striations matched the bullet casings from this exact moment she's talking about when her dad killed himself in the motel room. So that gun tied to him. Okay, other gun, I feel like it's a bit weird, but let me tell you something crazy. Here is, and I was going to save this, but Teddy's here now, and it might take us a minute to get there. So since he asked, I'm going to spill some beans. Okay. In the hotel room during the standoff, and this is where it gets crazy, okay? Like, it's nuts. They go through the parking lot, right? They see this vehicle that was stolen, okay? And the plates are weird on it. The plates weren't registered. They say, we're going to approach the hotel. We're going to find out where this guy is because that's the stolen car we're looking for. They go and they knock on the door. Once the person at the hotel is like, yeah, they're over here. They knock on the door. A woman answers, his wife. She apparently looked distressed and lets them know he's not here, he left. Okay. While they're talking to her, they notice movement under the bed. They look down, he's under the bed. Okay. He's refusing to leave and he's threatening to kill himself. They're like, holy shit. I think it was 4-hour standoff. It's in my notes. During the standoff, this is where it gets crazy. Sorry, it's heavy subject matter. During the standoff, they convince him to let the kids and the wife go, and he does. But they also convince him to give them his gun. Okay. So he slides the gun out. All right. So he's like, there's my gun. So they're like, good, he's disarmed. At that moment, they bust through the door, okay, to drag him out from under the bed. Boom, second gun, shoots himself. That's after he shot at the officers. So he had 2 guns on his person at the time he killed himself. So this is a guy who on his person carried 2 guns. That tells me a lot. First of all, it tells me, and also other things that we're going to talk about that have to do with his other crime scenes. But let's just say this is a guy who planned ahead, okay, did some BTK shit. Even though he worked with what he had, as in tying up the victims with their own clothing, with cords around the house, he still prepared in that he would often bring multiple weapons and he would often bring duct tape. Okay. So he planned to do some shit, not on all occasions, but on some. Now, here's another thing. He cut the phone lines. That's what I mean by BTK type of shit. Okay. Here's another thing. He did some Ted Bundy type stuff. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Perfect. Angela, you're ahead of the curve. Yes. Why would you use 2 guns? That's why it's telling me he prepared. In case this doesn't work, I need a backup, right? Not only that, he tried to lead police astray by doing weird shit at almost every crime scene. Okay? The one that he shot at the cops with, I believe, Reggie, which would be the second gun. So whatever his first gun is, again, was trying to look up as much as I could on this case, specifically the standoff. They did not even name the caliber in anything I could find. So probably going to do a public records request. Wondering if both guns were used in the yogurt shop. I would think that the one that he fired with, that's the one with the striations, right? And it matched the one from the yogurt shop. So they would need to fire the other gun, I'm presuming, and see if that matches the other gun. If they've already checked the striations on the first one, then why wouldn't they tell us with the second? If we don't hear about that at the press conference, that means likely it didn't match, so he probably had a third gun. Did they figure there was more than one gun used? Yes. The yogurt shop, they knew there was 2. The one with the bullet, that casing that was found in the drain at the yogurt shop, matched the one that he killed himself with and shot at the cops with. The gun that he gave the cops when they said, give us your gun during the hostage situation, I don't believe he'd fired yet. So I hope that they preserve that. But the thing is, like, if they tested the first gun, they would likely just shoot the second one that he had there, or I guess the second gun, and they would shoot the first one and see, right? So I would imagine that we're either going to find out about that at the press conference. If both of his guns match and they're different guns, that simply means he had 2 guns on him, and he likely did it on his own. The fact that it's an open and ongoing case makes me wonder why. Are they still looking for a second person? I don't know. We will see his suspect drawing again. I'm going to let this play, but also it is right here on the right. The press conference is Monday, so it's gonna be tomorrow. Yeah. Well, he wasn't in Texas when that happened. He was in Missouri. So he was in Kennett. So I'm gonna let her continue talking, and that's his picture right there. But I'll show you the sketches in a little bit.
Deal with it anymore. I never thought that he had psychotic issues that he dealt with that we didn't know about. There are people in this world that you don't touch, and no matter how wrong you are and how much of a low down dirty person you can be, you just don't touch children and you don't mess with women. Like there's standards to even the evilest people in this world. And my father had to have been the 7th layer of Hades to be how he is and all the things that are coming out. And
so this is a very smart woman. I appreciate that she's not mincing words. She's letting us know straight up, like, this is evil. I rebuke this shit. And I acknowledge that there were things we did not know about. Okay. And I just appreciate her so much.
Very sorry to every family that my father hurt. I know it is not my place at all to tell you I'm sorry. But someone has to, because he wasn't sorry for it. And half of my DNA is the person that hurt you the most. So I want to tell you sorry. And I'm so sorry for everything, but I'm finally glad that you are getting answers.
That part, that's the part that got me. That's the part that got me real choked up, you guys. Real choked up. Okay. What a sweet lady. She doesn't have to do this, but she's very strong, very brave, dude. Very brave.
And the city memo states Austin police will hold a news conference on Monday with details on this break in the case. We will, of course, be there and we will bring you updates. Looking in depth, Robert Brashears was well known to law enforcement. He had a conviction for attempted murder in Florida in 1985. And when Brashears killed himself in 1999, again, it was 1999, I misspoke earlier, he had active warrants in Arkansas for a previous arrest while trying to break into a woman's home. It wasn't until 2006 that advancements in DNA matching tied Brashears to the 1990 murder.
And don't worry, I know this is a lot, but we're going to go through the step by step and it'll make a lot more sense because he was kind of all over the place. Yeah, she has empathy for days, dude. She's very bright. She's very bright, very smart. She brought up the psychotic issues. They believe like she had never seen them because she was really young. But I've watched other interviews with her and her half sister. He did have 2 adopted daughters, which were there at the standoff. And that's going to be in our timeline. You'll see. But she was really little when these crimes happened, you know, and I believe she had family members who said, you know, that he had some mental health issues. Yeah, I got very choked up too, Donna. I was like bawling. And her Dr. Phil interviews are incredible. And you can tell that she was having a hard time coping, but she mainly like felt bad on behalf of her dad, which again, like empathy for days, right? Yeah, she's just like, you know what? Fuck this dude. Like, she's just straight up like, he's a monster. Like, and that's hard for her, you know, because she was a little kid, but I'm sure also it was very traumatic for her, even though she was only 7. Like, it was probably very traumatic for her with everything that was going on, what with being in a police standoff and finding out your dad just died, who's barely ever home, but when he is, he seemed to be a really great dad, you know? Crazy.
Murder of a woman in Greenville, South Carolina over the following years and decades. Brashears would be tied to a 1997 rape of a 14-year-old girl at gunpoint in Memphis, Tennessee, and the 1998 sexual assault of a Missouri mother and her 12-year-old daughter. The bodies of Sherry and Megan Scherer were found in a rural southeast Missouri home. Brashears was tied to the killings after his body was exhumed in 2018 for further DNA testing.
And you know what, Teddy, that's a great point. And Melissa Moore's documentary was all about that, remember? And it was kind of wild. She would bring the she's the daughter of Keith Jesperson, right? She would bring the victims of these serial killers together with the sons and daughters of the killers to have a conversation, and that show fucked me up. It made me cry every time. And there were some where I was like, how are you being so mean to this kid who just didn't, it's not their fault, you know? But God, Melissa Moore was such a great moderator. Shoot, let me find the title. I feel like it had monster in it. Let me find the title. Hold on. I'll let this play.
Now, we asked APD about investigative genealogy last year. The department told us that it's not just as simple as having a matching profile in the database. Officers told us they first work with scientists in case management to determine if they have enough DNA to perform what's called a genetic genealogy. APD tries to use state labs before private labs because of the high costs that can come with this process. And the department also points out that people who utilize services like Ancestry.com.
Yes, it's called Monster in My Family. You're absolutely right, Foxy. Foxy is on it. On it.
Have to opt in for their information to be uploaded for any matching.
You can't help but relive those images. And I still see the images.
I want to show you also, and I wonder if it's on here, some of the interviews that happened on the scene. They only showed the one kid right here. I'm going to try to find it later, but there's another one where right after they play his interview on the same broadcast, they play another kid who you will recognize from the documentary as one of the Creek Boys. Specifically Mace, I believe, the one that they tried to blame. And he was like, no. He's crying on there talking about the girls. So I thought that was interesting.
He was there that night responding with others to put out the initial fire at the yogurt shop when the young victims were discovered.
Firefighter with me tapped me on the shoulder and pointed down. And he asked me, is that a body? And I had to step back. And
hold on a second. Is that our current? Hold on.
It was. I saw another body. I knew that it wasn't right. Something was not right.
Now, this case took a number of turns over the years. There have been the source of numerous news stories and documentaries. This case has 4 men were arrested 8 years after the initial crime. Only 2 went to trial. Both confessed and were convicted. However, the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals overturned both.
Sorry, I couldn't remember if that was our DA or not right now talking, but it's not. I was like, couldn't remember if it was Renee or Jose, but this is Renee Garza. Never mind.
Convictions, noting constitutional violations when it came to their confessions. The cases for the other suspects were dismissed. In 2009, advanced DNA testing located a DNA profile belonging to an unknown male as part of the sexual assault swabs that were taken from the victims. Be sure to check out our continuing coverage right now at kxan.com. We have a look back at the investigation.
All right. So here's what I'm going to do next before we watch CeCe Moore. Okay. Let me stop sharing that. Pop myself back up. Okay. I'm pop back up. Now I'm going to show you a couple of things. That's a standoff. Where's this one? Okay. So you guys wanted to see the sketch. So I'll just pull that up while I go over the timeline. And then I will show you the timeline once I get through all of it. Okay. So I'm just going to put up this is going to be a listening part. So if you have to like do stuff, consider it a podcast from here on out. If you have to do stuff, if you got to like put headphones on and walk around, I'm just going to have this picture up while I talk to you. All right. And I will put more photos up on the community wall. Okay. But this is a listening time. And then I will have a timeline basically posted for you guys to see so that you have a copy of it, okay? And I will keep updating it as it changes. All right? Why would it change? Because we find out new things. So these are the sketches. A little bit about Robert Eugene Brashers, aka Mr. Maroon, because he drove a big maroon van. So we're going to start at his birth, okay? He was born March 13th, 1958 in Newport News, Virginia. All right? So we're starting out in Virginia. He was the younger of two living children born to Dulles and Nancy Brashers. When he was young, they moved to Huntsville, Alabama. So Brasher spent his childhood and youth there. He supposedly had no problems with the law during his teenage years. He didn't use drugs or alcohol, wasn't known to, never got in trouble for it. Once he graduated, he moved and enlisted in the Army and Navy for several years. He was assigned to quite a few places, okay, but he was only there for 8 months before he was discharged. So 8 months, okay, in the Army and served in the Navy for several years. So Army 8 months, then served in the Navy. I have questions about that, like how? But that's what happened, okay? In the early 1980s, all right? So we don't know any criminal shit that he did before that. But in the early 80s, Brashers resigned from the Army, all right? He moved to Louisiana, settling in a house in New Orleans. So we're at Newport News, Virginia, Huntsville, Alabama. Then we're in Louisiana, in New Orleans specifically. But by the mid 80s, he moved to Fort Myers, Florida. All right. So now we have Virginia, Alabama, Louisiana, Florida. He married in 1990. He had a daughter with his wife in 1991. And at some point before that, he had adopted 2 little girls. Okay. So there's that. All right. Here's where his convictions start. We're going to start November 1986. So this is the first known big one. Okay. November of 1986, Brashers was convicted of attempted second-degree murder stemming from an incident in St. Lucie County, Florida. All right. So this is November 11th, 1985. So 1 year before, on November 11th, all right, he he sexually assaulted and murdered a woman named Michelle Wilkerson. She was 24 years old. He shot her twice, okay? It was a pretty brutal situation, all right? So 1985, that happens, all right? 1986, he's convicted, all right? And he serves time. He is charged or sentenced to 12 years, okay? So in 86, he's sentenced to 12 years for the November crime, the year prior. 12 years, all right? Keep that in your head. 12 years for a sexual assault and a murder. He shot a woman twice. She's 24 years old, all right? He got out on parole after 3 fucking years. So in May of 1989, he gets out on parole of what was supposed to be 12 years in the pen. He gets out after 3 years. First of all, 12 years is nothing for a sex assault and murder. 3 years is egregious and a slap in the face. So in May of 89, all right, he moves to Greenville, South Carolina. This is before he gets married, okay? April 6th of 1990, all right, while he's in Greenville, South Carolina, he is just a few miles away, maybe even blocks, if I remember correctly, from a woman named Genevieve Zatricki. She's 28. She's found dead inside of her Greenville, South Carolina apartment after she failed to report for work. Her work calls her apartment complex. They say, we need a welfare check, all right? The handyman found her in the apartment to check on her because of the work call. Here is what was found. Here's some case notes. He killed her. She was asleep. He got in through the sliding glass door, okay? He bludgeoned her badly with possibly a hammer, all right? So here's what we got. He used a double knot on her to tie her up, all right? He used a double knot plus an extra knot. So the cops considered that overkill. Like, why would you do that? Why is that important? Because if you see that in another crime scene, that could be a sign that this fool might have had something to do with it, right? In black marker, he wrote on her mirror, "Don't fuck with my family." This, they believe, was an attempt to make the cops go, oh, this must have been personal, and look away from him. That's some intent. That's some planning. You feel me? She was asleep. He shows up in his van. He parks. It's the middle of the night, okay? He walks up to her sliding glass door. He opens it. How would he know that? Makes me think he had priorly stalked her, okay? He attacks her. She wakes up. He's bludgeoning her with a hammer. He then pulls her off the bed, sexually assaults her. He grabs her by the legs. He drags her into the bathroom. There is a trail from the edge of her bed of a lot of blood going all the way to the bathroom, leading up to the bathtub. He takes her body. He puts it in the bathtub in a degrading position. He takes her ass and he puts her butt. I don't know how to say. He takes her bottom, puts it up right under the faucet, almost like she's kneeling, head down into the water, butt under the faucet, turns the faucet on the hottest setting. So scalding hot water, pouring on her tuchus, takes her purse, dumps it out into the sink, puts the purse in there, pours water, or turns on the faucet, gets water to fill up the sink, right? Submerges her purse and all the stuff in it. Strangles her, okay? Strangles her. Her home was fucked. It was ransacked. He starts trashing it, okay? He takes every drawer in the apartment and pulls them out. Dumps everything. That's how they found her body. Then, so that was April 6, 1990, okay? Then we skip ahead a year and a couple of months, all right? A year and some change. And we skip ahead to the Austin murder and sexual assault known as the yogurt shop murders. Okay? He goes into a yogurt shop at night on a night where there's like football games, okay? All the teens are out. These two girls are working there. Two little girls in the back who are going to get a ride home from their older sister. One of them is friends with the other girl, okay? He goes in. They then are shot, okay? We talked about the positioning, all right? We talked about how the crime scene was left. We're going to go into more detail later on that. But just remember, they're shot in the head, okay? Now, this is different because Zatricki was bludgeoned, all right? But what's interesting is all the extra stuff. Now, in this one, he chose arson, all right? So remember that. Then we move forward, February 1992, Georgia, Cobb County, all right? So we are now 2 months later. He's arrested for grand theft auto. So this is a totally different state, okay? So we're going from South Carolina, all right, to Texas, and then to Georgia. He's arrested for grand theft auto, unlawful possession of a weapon, and theft. Police found police jackets, lockpicking tools, a radio scanner, and a fake Tennessee driver's license on him. Also in February 92, he is sentenced to 5 years in prison for the Cobb County situation where he's pulled over and it looks like he's playing cop, right? So, with that said, he serves the full sentence. So, February of 92 to 1997, he's in jail. All right. That same year in 1992, his daughter is born. Okay. March 11th, 1997, a 14-year-old girl is raped. She and 4 other people were at home from a funeral in Memphis when a man knocked on the door. As one person tried to close the door, the man pulled a revolver and pushed his way inside. He told them the police were after him and he needed a car. They said, take it. They gave him the keys. Instead, he duct taped them. He held them at gunpoint and he used a telephone wire in the house to tie them up, and then instead molested the 14-year-old in front of them. They found out that the Dyersburg case composite, all right, which is from the previous crime. They found the Dyersburg case composite from the previous crime, and the victim and the witnesses provided a full description that helped the composite drawing of the suspect again. The Dyersburg crime is the first one, right here on the left. And then the new composite that they established is right here on the right, okay? He picks up his family from Alabama and moves them to Jonesboro, Arkansas. This is in 97. Then we move forward to March 28th, 1998. It's 7 p.m. The bodies of Sherry and Megan Scherer were found in their rural home in Porterville, Missouri. They'd both been murdered and Megan had been sexually assaulted. He bit Sherry Scherer, okay, on the buttocks. The bite mark was faint, but that's something important because that is some Ted Bundy stuff. And it's something that you don't often see. That is actually how they ended up getting the DNA to help solve this case and others. Case notes on that. The hands were bound. They were assaulted. Gunshots to the head. Gagged. A cord was used that was found there. And they were tied up with the cord that was there in the house. He also cut the phone lines here too. He bit the young girl on the right butt cheek, and that is how they got the swab for the DNA profile. Then we move to March of 1998, which is 2.5 hours after killing Megan and Sherry. 45 minutes away, he attempts a home invasion. All right. This is in Dyersburg, Tennessee. So wait, sorry, I need to go back. The Dyersburg sketch is the one on the left, and the other sketch is the one on the right. These two sketches were compared. All right. So that's how they found it. Sorry, I skipped that. My bad. A man in a van stopped and asked for directions, saying he was looking for a guy named Jeremy Taylor because he saw a woman in her yard with her 3 kids. She's outside. Her 3 kids are playing in the yard. She doesn't want to go inside and leave her kids alone with this guy. So she's like, nah, I'm good. He pulls a gun on her. All right. She struggles. She gets in the trailer running from him, gets the kids inside, wrestles with him over the gun. And while she's trying to close the door, the 12-year-old girl gets a rifle off the wall, comes running in to give her the gun. He sees the police. He shoots above the doorknob, hits her in the arm. She calls police. Ballistics connected to that incident matched the Scherer murders. The woman gives a description of the suspect, helps with this composite drawing. So now we have 2 composites, okay? Now, this is the point where I have to take a break because it gets a little intense, okay? But I do want to stop because I want to play for you CeCe Moore's conference. This is where a lot of the DNA stuff comes into play. And it's an excellent conference, and I think everybody should watch it. And it explains exactly how all of that came together to solve the rest of these cases, all right? So I'm going to play that for you right now. And it's a lot to pay attention to, but I promise it's worth it because she's very smart. Okay, here you go.
As well as the latest on this new break in the case.
If you saw my television series, then you saw us cover this case and you saw more details of the genetic genealogy than I'll probably give now. But this was Robert Eugene Brashers. So we were hired to try to identify the killer of Genevieve Zitricki. She was murdered in Greenville, South Carolina on April 4th, 1990. She was strangled, bludgeoned, and raped. And on the mirror, he wrote, "Don't F with my family." So it looked like it was something very personal from that. On March 11th, 1997, at this time, unknown perpetrator was called Mr. Maroon eventually. He entered a home near Memphis, Tennessee, and sexually assaulted a 14-year-old girl who was staying at the home with friends. And then March 28th, 1998, it appeared to be the same suspect based on the witness descriptions. He shot and killed Sherry Scherer and her 12-year-old daughter, Megan, in their home in Portageville, Missouri. Police said that Megan was also sexually assaulted. Later that same day, police say that the same suspect attempted to force his way into a home in Dyersburg, Tennessee. A mother who was 25 was home with a small child. She fought with the suspect and was shot. She survived the shooting by pushing him out the door and closing the door on him, a fighter. And she was able to provide a good description of the suspect and the projectile pulled from her body.
I also want to point out, I did leave that out. The projectile was pulled from her body, but it was the same thing, the bullet from it. Also, it wasn't just one, it was 3 kids.
Body was later linked to the Scherer homicides. So these 2 murders, Genevieve Zitricki in South Carolina and the Scherers in Missouri, were tied together through DNA. And that has been known for quite a while. But much more recently, a rape kit from 1997 in Tennessee was processed, and it also hit as a match to that DNA profile. So we had 3 separate crimes, all connected to this one unknown individual. So the victims were Genevieve Zitricki and Sherry and Megan Scherer, and then a unidentified victim from that. Sexual assault. There was also the person that was shot, the 25-year-old mother that was shot as well. This was a composite from the witness statements. So you can see they all described him a little bit differently, those who survived or witnessed him at these.
Oh my God, I muted. I'm so sorry. So I want to tell you guys, there's another one in here. He was arrested in Paragould because he was trying to break into a house of a woman living alone that had once employed him. So it was someone who was his previous employer, and he cut the wires leading into her home, and he was armed when he got arrested. Okay. He had a video camera and locksmith tools on him. The fact that he's trying to break into her house, cut the wires, and had a video camera on him, also very BTK of him. Okay. Also a Missouri guy. He liked to go there a lot. He was taken into custody, but then they released him because someone posted his bail. So what the fuck? All right. Every profile they had thus far was not enough markers for CODIS. All right. But between that time in 98, 2006, all the cases were featured on America's Most Wanted, which included all of the sketches.
Locations, but there are some similarities. The wire-rimmed glasses, sometimes clear, sometimes sunglasses, but they have that double line there. So it looks like it's probably those ones that change from light to dark depending on the lighting. And this was the genetic genealogy that I had to work with. So I was really lucky in this case that we had a nice strong match, 685. You don't get that very often. But this was back before the opt-out at GEDmatch, so we did have more to work with at that time. It was just under 1 million people at that time in 2018. Now, we also had a match at 520, which is great as a second match, but it was a little confusing because it was a double cousin. It ended up being a double second cousin. So, you know, that was a little bit to figure out, but not something too difficult. So this only took, I think, a weekend, like 2 days. I was able to zero in on a number of cousins.
By the way, CeCe's being modest. On some cases, that took people 20 to 40 years. It only took her 6 hours. She's a big badass.
Not just one person, but there was one person who really stood out, and that was Robert Eugene Brashers. And the reason he stood out at first was because when I went into newspapers.com, I found that he had been arrested for an attack on a woman. She had been shot in the head. He had tried to rape her, and she had actually gotten away from him and crawled through a pipe and mud. This woman was a hero, and got pulled herself up to a farmhouse, and they called the police, and they found him stuck in the mud. He tried to drive his truck and got stuck. So he was.
So remember, this is the woman who he got sentenced 12 years for his crime, and he only served 3. Listen to what she went through.
Actually arrested for this crime, and he was sentenced on November 10th, 1986, and incarcerated. So he was scheduled to be released October 17th, 1990. Not very long, right? I mean, back then, a lot of times these violent criminals did not get much time. And we see this time and time again in our cases, that somebody was arrested for a very violent crime back in the 70s or 80s, and then right back out on the streets pretty quickly to offend again. This is also pre-DNA, and so they didn't collect his, well, pre-DNA for law enforcement use, and so they hadn't collected his DNA. It was not in CODIS for this reason.
Great question. Double second cousin is the child of double first cousins, so they're related on both sides of the family from their family tree. Okay, so it's intersecting lines. Basically, double second cousin shares like more DNA than a regular one. It makes me think that it's, let's just say it's the child of a cousin. Yeah, that's the best way to do. Yes, thank you. Because some people get a little confused with I don't know how to say it, but some Lannister shit. You know what I mean? A little bit of that, but that's not actually what it means. It's like the kid of the cousin.
So this was confusing though, because look at his scheduled release date, October 17th, 1990, but Genevieve Zitricki's murder was April 4th, 1990. So based on my experience on seeing people get out early, I figured he probably was released early, but this was a real discrepancy. Then on Ancestry.com and their U.S. Public Record Index, I found this.
See, I was trying to be nice, but yeah, it's like married into the same family, but also at the same time, there are people who are like, oh, well, you know, how do I put it? Okay, you know Caitlin from Teen Mom? Remember Caitlin and Ryan? That could technically be a double second cousin. Deliverance style. Yes, yes, yes. but also it can be a phrase for like, this is my cousin's kid. I believe in genetic genealogy, though. It is a situation where it's two people in the same tree, but it could be through marriage.
Address.
It doesn't always have to be incest, but it could be.
And shockingly, it was 0.7 miles from Genevieve's murder site, which was her apartment. Now, it didn't have a date on it, but it was a listing for Robert Eugene Brashers. And I knew it was him because it had the same date of birth. It had to be him. But he was supposed to still be in jail, right, at the time of her murder. But I didn't think this could possibly be a coincidence. He had to have gotten out early. So he was definitely the most likely cousin in that tree to be our guy. He also lived in relatively close proximity to the 1997 and 1998 crimes in Missouri and Tennessee. He lived in Paragould, Arkansas, and he lived in, he was two different addresses in Paragould, which were 60 and 66 miles from the Missouri crime and 70 and 76 miles from the Dyersburg, Tennessee crime, and 79 and 82 miles from Memphis, Tennessee. So this is actually further than what we usually see. The vast majority of the time, the genetic genealogy leads us right to the crime scene. But this was close enough. And here I had found him 0.7 miles from Genevieve's apartment and knew this was the same DNA. So this still worked. This guy moved around a lot. Then I found his 1999 obituary, and he was only 40 years old when he died. I then found his daughter's Facebook page, and this wasn't labeled, but look at this guy in this picture, and it looks like a family picture, right, on her Facebook page. It looks like an older picture. So this was a person who looked very consistent with the witness statements. And so I, of course, zeroed in thinking, could this be her father, Robert Brashers? And when I compared him to those composites, look what I found. Look at the hat. It looks identical. Look at the glasses. It's a little hard to see there, but.
So this is a great example, by the way, of somebody using social media to backtrace once the genetic genealogy is stopped. So when people say, what do you mean forensic genealogy? And what do you mean, backtracing once the DNA stopped? It's literally what she's showing you. It's going through newspaper reports, going through family trees, going through Facebook. That's something that a lot of us have been doing for a long time and didn't know what to call it. But that is half of the process of genetic genealogy.
It's got that double wire between, and he's inside, but his glasses are dark there, which was a little odd. But I thought, those maybe they're the kind that are supposed to adjust, and they're just not working that well anymore. But he very much fit. So I dug deeper with him. And I found that his older brother, Dulles Woodrow Brasher Jr., died in a shootout with.
Remember, I told you one of his relatives? That's who it was. It was his oldest brother. I thought it was his uncle.
Law enforcement in 1979 in Huntsville, Alabama. So, that's getting more complex here. And then, oddly, I found a 1980 obituary for Robert Brashers. How strange is that? Remember, I found the 1999 obituary. And then I found his mother's obituary 2 days later. Very strange. Didn't quite know what to make of it. And her obituary said that survivors include her son, Robert Brashers of New Orleans. But there's an obituary 2 days earlier for him, and both of these were in the same newspaper in Virginia. So something very, very strange was going on here. I don't think in all my years of genealogy I've ever seen anyone with two obituaries almost 20 years apart. Very strange. This is a strange guy. Then I found a year later, he was in his brother's wedding. So he must not have died in 1980. And
Do you see how brilliant she is? And do you see how just because you see it in the paper doesn't mean it so can definitely apply to criminal cases? Very interesting.
strange that you would allow your name to be published if you were trying to pretend you were dead. I then found that he was a suspect in a burglary in New Orleans in 1981. I found that there was an attempted break-in in 1998, 2 weeks before the Scherer murders, and this placed him in Arkansas and pretty close to the crime scenes there. I didn't know any details about this. I just found this law enforcement record. Now, I can't go through this whole timeline, but this guy was moving around a lot. He lived in a lot of different places. Very well may have been getting well known by law enforcement and moving on. One thing I want to highlight, in 1992, he was arrested in Cobb County, Georgia for possession of a stolen pistol and possession of a stolen vehicle. He had a scanner, a police jacket, burglary tools, and a fake Tennessee license when he was arrested. He was sentenced on the possession charges and incarcerated till 1997. So what was this guy up to? In 1998, that attempted burglary arrest, it turns out that he had previously been employed by a single woman who lived alone there. And when he was caught, he had cut the wires leading to her home and was armed. He also had a video camera and locksmithing tools. Doesn't sound like a simple burglary, does it? In 1999, that obituary I found, January 13th, 1999, he died when he was in a hotel room with his family, and the police had looked in the parking lot and found a vehicle with a stolen tag. So they asked reception, who does this belong to? They directed the law enforcement officers to his room, and he ended up hiding under the bed with a gun. And after 4 hours of negotiations, he let his family go and shot himself. So that is when he actually died, not 1980, but 1999. So that felony case he had from that attempted burglary was disposed of a week or a little more than a week later, so never got heard. So these are the things that keep me up. The fake obituary in Newport News, Virginia, published in New Orleans also. So why did he have a fake obituary? What was he?
Also, the amount of serial killers in New Orleans at that time. Also, when did Clay call? When did he call Howard Stern? If it was before 99, I have questions. Also, I would like to point out she skipped over the gun thing with the two guns because they didn't know that yet, I guess. The sheriff did an interview eventually and cleared that up. I believe he might even bring that up in the Bloodline Detectives. But I read about it through a statement which is included on the long list that's going to be on the community wall.
Running from? What was he hiding from? Was there something he had done that he was trying to get away from? In 1981, when he was arrested for that simple burglary in New Orleans, was it really a simple burglary, or did he have something much more intended? In 92, when he was arrested with the police jacket, the burglary tools, etc., what was he intending to do, or what had he already done that they never connected to him? We still don't know that. And in 1998, when he was arrested trying to break into that single woman's home, he was awfully prepared. So how many times had he done something like that before and not gotten caught? So this person is almost certainly a serial killer. Well, he has 3 known victims, so he technically is a serial killer, but he's very likely to be a much more active serial killer than any of us know. And so police are very interested in people, thinking about this, and they've put it out there in the news that, there are likely other crimes in Louisiana, New Orleans, Algiers, in Alabama, in Georgia. Like I said, this guy got around in Arkansas.
All right. And that's the whole of the conference. So this guy did get around. This is going to be on our playlist for those of you who would like to go back and watch it in addition to the timeline that I created. She had a little more info on hers that I don't have from prior to his first arrest. So I am going to be putting that up. Erica said that there was a shooting during a worship service at a church in Grand Blanc Township, Michigan. Oh God, it's horrible. Oh geez. I'll try to look that up for you too. Jesus. Every day, man. It's fucking sad. All right. Well, look, we're going to go because that's all we got today. You're all the best. Thank you so much for being here. I have to go run some errands, but I might be back a little later, okay? We do have a lot more to talk about him. All right? But that's what we're going to do now. Today, it was just a basic timeline, and we want to look at CeCe Moore's breakdown. All right? And of course, we got to add to that he was exhumed, and they were able to match him to the yogurt shop murders. Thank Christ. That is solved. Thank you guys so much. We will talk about this more in the future. Maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow. But I will see you guys for the press conference tomorrow, without a doubt, for sure, no matter what, okay? You guys are the best.
In the criminal justice.
Thank you for being here. And I leave you with, that's assault. Megan, Morgan and Morgan. Okay, you know what? Because Megan gave $1.99 super sticker, you know what we got to do now, all right? I'm going to give you a different song. I'm going to give you a different song to end to. You guys know it. You know what it is. I love you all. Have a good day. Be good.
Get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Big boy get on the roof. Never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Big boy ain't lay on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy drill on the roof. Never seen a big boy drill on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy drill on the roof. Big boy drilling on the roof. Big boy drilling on the roof. Big boy ain't drilling on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Big boy ain't climbing on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. How you do it like that? Damn, you got tools on your back. Climbing on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Shit, big boy get loose. Shit, big boy get loose. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never shit, and you falling on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy hop on the roof. How you do it like that? Shit, you just make a back. Shit, pick up your back. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Get on the roof.